Hello, and welcome to the Mechanics of Healing. This is part 2D, and we are dealing with soul codes and DNA. One of the most difficult things to accept and understand is a part of the anatomy and structure of the soul called soul codes. Soul codes are the many expressions of the soul and who we are, written in a codified language. In this course, we will learn what their purpose and functionality are, how they work to interact with the human body through our DNA, what the practical implications of their existence and purpose are, and how we activate our DNA working with our soul codes. Soul codes are also sometimes called seed codes, but they are not exactly the same thing. Seed codes are the codes that we carry in our soul body when we first incarnate here, and through our experiences and choices, we build or accumulate more encoding. The purpose of accumulating soul codes is to eventually, through many lifetimes and through all the dimensional fields, we will have a Christ encoding in our soul code. The Christ code is the encoding of a soul journey of completion and wholeness or holiness. This enhanced encoding is called our soul codes and become our seed codes when we next incarnate. Our seed code and soul codes carry the information of our soul's history, including the genetic expression in many forms through its many lifetimes. The information about our soul history is also written into the Akashic records. So when we enter a new incarnational cycle, all this information is transferred from the Akashic records to our soul and become the seed code. In other words, the new beginning encoding for our new life experiences. So we can surmise that our soul codes are an expression of who we authentically are, because it is the recording of all the information about us over many lifetimes, including the present lifetime, written in a codified language in our soul body. The same information is carried in our physical bodies, in our DNA, that are also a record of our soul and genetic history. The soul is a field of highly charged plasma energy, and it has a construct. Our Merkaba fields, chakras, and meridian lines, or Kathara grid, are also a part of this construct that includes our soul codes. I once asked about what soul codes look like, and I was told it is in the sacred first cause language that looks a bit like Sanskrit writing. Higher dimensional beings are able to see and read ours and their soul codes, and identify the soul being and its personality and characteristics by their soul codes. At the time of our first incarnation, we have an incomplete soul body, and then we live a life where all our experiences and our responses to them are recorded in our soul codes that we carry with us to the next incarnation. Our soul codes carry the information of our genetic as well as our soul history, and before each incarnation we enter into a soul contract with Source, where our soul codes are examined and the options for building and improving our soul codes are considered before entering into a soul contract. When considering our next incarnational path, we consider the genetic encoding of our new parents, and sometimes we make choices because of the encoding that they carry in order to best improve our own encoding. So we reach agreement with Source about the experience we should give ourselves to fully experience all aspects of life and living, to refine our souls and advance our soul through the multidimensional universe one step at a time. We choose our parents, and they chose us before we all incarnate, in order to provide for ourselves the experiences we want and choose in order to refine our souls, in order to conform to the Chris code. The pathway we are meant to choose is the Christic pathway. Before each incarnation, our guardian soul families discuss the potential, probabilities, and possibilities, and the experiences we may have with us. But ultimately, we choose our own pathway. Over many lifetimes, we build our soul codes until we reach conformity with the Christ code. It is part of the evolutionary journey of the soul. The more we think, feel, speak, and do as the Christ, and express that through our attitudes, the more quickly we accumulate bits of the Christ code. This may be described as the imitation of the Christ. Our soul codes need protection, particularly during sexual intercourse. When we orgasm, our soul bodies are excited and our auric fields open, and we can, and sometimes do, exchange soul codes with our sexual partner. If we choose not to exchange soul codes with our partner, we can do the exercise that I provide at the end of the video. This will not be released publicly, however. In any case, we need this protection all the time, so this exercise should be done daily for about 3 weeks. Now consider this. If our familial or earth family connections are established through our genetic DNA, just imagine how interconnected our soul genealogy is, and how large our soul family is, that has lived in many lifetimes, on many dimensional planes, and on many different timelines. Many of us carry in our soul codes a soul history that is beyond our imagination, and soul family connections too many to count. We are far greater than we can imagine, and it is worth considering. Our soul connections go throughout the cosmos. In a future course, we will discuss and examine what our twin soul is, and our soulmates, soul family, soul group, and soul societies are. To understand how soul codes work, I would like to use an analogy of the current computer systems. The ROM, read-only memory, may be compared to the initial system programming we receive in our seed code when we first incarnate. It is static and fixed and cannot be changed, but it can be added to. Soul codes are the program that runs the information exchange in the soul, as well as the physical body. We receive our initial programming, it is like the ROM, when we first incarnated, and in the process described in the course that we did on soul evolution. During this first incarnation, we are equipped with a soul template, initial programming, that includes a Merkaba field, our chakras, and Cathara grid that are gradually more activated with each incarnation. At each new incarnation, we receive a ROM upgrade based on the experiences in our previous incarnation. This is similar to when we buy a new computer and receive a ROM, RAM, operating system, and hard disk drive upgrades. The soul's operating system is our universal creation and design template that is gradually more activated with each subsequent incarnation. Programming is an information exchange between the ROM, RAM, and hard disk drives and is written in programming language. In other words, using the computer analogy, our ROM, read-only memory, is pre-programmed, that is, our C code, and is the operating system that is supposed to drive all other subsequent programming, which on this planet does not happen because we either complicitly or explicitly allow our operating system to be ignored by our subsequent indoctrination with a conspiracy of lies and distortions of the truth. In other words, our ROM is overridden by the false information fed into our computer through the hard drive and RAM. So we pay very little attention and don't know about our authentic soul when we incarnate, and our personalities and characteristics are molded by the false matrix control system. Have you noticed that newborn babies already have a personality and character when they are born? This comes from their soul codes. Let us explore this notion a little deeper. Let's assume that we create a human robot with a built-in computer system and programming. The ROM will operate the physical anatomy and all the functioning parts of the robot, including perhaps built-in spoken languages and the operation of our five senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. The hard drives will provide subsequent programs for operating the robot, and may include functions like work details, and that information is fed into the RAM, the random access memory. We may have a chef and a cooking program where a large amount of recipes are stored in the memory of the program. Or we may have a security program that enables the robot to detect threats and the use of weaponry. All these subsequent programs are introduced into the robot's RAM through our external hard drives and our external programming. In this way, we have all been externally programmed through indoctrination, when all the time we are meant to program ourselves, because our Chris code is inherently programmed into our soul's universal creation and design template. That is how we intuitively know that there's something seriously wrong on our planet, because what we experience in our external world is being programmed externally into us and is largely inorganic and unnatural and foreign to our souls. What are the practical implications of having a C code and accumulating more soul codes during our life's experiences? In our past, the fallen angelics and Anunnaki-led controllers here have kept us from accumulating certain soul codes and kept us revolving in and out of an incarnational cycle, where with each cycle our Christ memory is wiped clean and we don't know who and what we are. They have fed us a false narrative about who and what we are, and have kept us in the dark about the truth, feeding us small bits of truth to obscure their deception and give us a false sense of who and what we are, so that we may not step into the inherent and innate powers that exist in our soul bodies. They also give us a false identity that makes us think that we are physical beings having a soul experience, whereas we are soul beings having a manifest physical experience. They fed our RAM, memories, with false information and programming, aimed at keeping us trapped in their soul recycling program and controlling the narrative of our very existence. They have devised a very complex system of narrative control and have a vast propaganda program that includes societal norms, education, religion, laws, judicial, executive and financial systems, and secret societies and organizations that believe they are the masters of the slave ship, whereas they are just the puppets of the fallen angelics. It also means we have lost our true identity as powerful, eternal, and sovereign soul beings, designed by the universal creation and design codes, and instead we act as powerless, mortal, and dependent on external resources for our sustenance, because we allow and follow the programming of the evil matrix and of control system here. It also means we lose the ability to meaningfully accumulate further soul codes to advance our soul evolution in a meaningful way, and are stunted in our soul growth and soul evolution. We occasionally speak and act in loving and kind ways, instead of speaking and acting consistently in a loving and kind way. We show little respect for our true selves, and therefore for other humans and other species who share our soul journey with us, and we treat them as expendable because we consider ourselves to be expendable, and therefore we diminish the power we inherently and innately hold within us. So what can we do about it? The first thing we have to do is make a new choice and decision to take back our true identity. This means shaking off the shackles of the false identity we have been given and find our true selves with the authentic soul being that we are, and express that through our thoughts and emotions, our values and standards, and our attitudes. In other words, we have to take back and develop our authentic selves and restore the integrity of our Christic self. This quote is from Heather Allison. Our soul codes are our inner guide to remember why we're here. The magic and love we're looking for is also looking for us. The problem is, if we're not living our soul code, who we're meant to be, who we are to core of our being, then those beautiful things we're meant for actually can't find us. The love and people we're meant for won't recognize us. The soul clients we're meant for won't feel called to work with us. Our brand won't feel like us, and neither will our calling. But when we're showing up fully as who we are at a soul code level, all that changes. We can unlock that for ourselves and begin to live the life and have the love we were meant to have. But first we have to remember exactly who our soul came here to be. I love that quote. Our soul codes are our inner guide, so remember that. The second thing we can do is purge our past memories of all trauma, guilt, fear, and low self-esteem. This requires an age memory regression. What this involves is remembering old memories of self and situations and reimagining them and replaying those memories and situations and changing them through our imagination. Imagination is imaging in our minds. This restores holographic integrity of the soul. How this works is similar to digital imaging in computers. The image we see on our monitors is derived through the imaging program and format that creates the metadata that produces the image on the monitor. If we want to change the image, we have to change the metadata. And once we have changed, we have a new image. If we want to change the holographic memories of our past, we have to re-image them or imagine them and change them and save them to our memories. If we change the metadata, we change the image and can save that metadata into our soul memories by remembering them and choosing them. When I started my age regression, I could hardly remember anything before the age of 7. But by the end of the process, I could even remember being born and was able to purge the trauma of it. I could even remember being an infant carried on my African nanny's back. I remember her humming and the smell of the burnt wood in the blanket she used to carry me. Many memories were restored and re-imaged over 53 years of my life, and I still do that. When I remember them, I play them back as the new me, and in this way, I am able to restore the integrity of my soul memory and soul codes. The third thing we can do is find our authentic selves by observing our thoughts and emotions and our standards and values and our attitudes, and decide which of our thoughts and emotions, standards and values and our attitudes are authentically ours, and which are conditioned responses that we've been indoctrinated with. I covered this more fully in the course, Mastering the Hologram, so I won't repeat it again here. Authenticity is required to restore the integrity of our souls and our soul codes. To understand DNA activation, we should understand that DNA activation comes from the activation of our soul codes that provide the information by transferring the information from the soul codes held in the soul body to the DNA in the physical body. An important principle is to understand is that we cannot activate our DNA from something that isn't there in our soul codes in our soul body. Only if the information is there can it be transferred. We will discover great things about ourselves we never knew before by remembering. Another important point is our memories, that is the hard drive, are wiped when we incarnate, so we can't remember our soul history, and therefore who and what we are. The information, however, exists in our soul codes, and during this ascension cycle, our DNA will be activated and changed when we receive a transfer of the information in our soul codes to our genetic and junk DNA. There may be a progressive bleed-through or slow activation for those doing the work with their soul bodies, but it'll just be a preparation period for what is to come. It will not be experienced in the same way by everybody. Besides the practical exercises mentioned, it is best we learn to think and feel, speak and act in a Christic way, and gather standards and values, and exercise attitudes that reflect the Christian coding, so that we may, in this lifetime, continue to accumulate soul codes in our soul body that benefit and refine our souls, and conform and transform them to the Christ. This is what is meant. This is what it means to store up treasures in heaven. Earlier in this video, I mentioned a protection exercise we can do to prevent unintended soul code interference during sexual intercourse, or when under soul attack and exposure to dissonant energies, including microwave energies. The following exercise will create a frequency fence or shield around the soul body, and is most effective if you have done together with the Merkaba and chakra exercises we did in earlier courses. It should be done frequently and daily for 21 days, and then as often as required. It is based on advanced bioenergetic mechanics and will be fully understood once the 3-year course is completed. It involves visualization, toning, and breathing, all of which are living energy forms. Visualization is imaging in the mind and establishes the metadata, the electric field for the soul. Toning is sound frequencies, magnetic field, with a specific reference to the energy carried by the sound tone. Breathing is infusing life force or chi into the body. We do not breathe air. That is a myth. What we are breathing in and out is ether, or life force. This establishes a morphogenetic, form-holding field within and around the body. It is best done after a minute or two of emptying the mind of all prior thoughts and the heart of all prior emotions. You can assume any posture that is comfortable for you. Sit, stand, or lie, and stay relaxed, calm, and focused for about 12 seconds. Focus your attention and conscious awareness in the center of the brain, in the area of the pineal gland. Imagine a pale blue Merkaba field spinning in the center of the brain, and watch it spinning for a few seconds with a soft, blurring focus. We are going to expand that Merkaba field so that it completely surrounds the body. Take a slow, deep breath and forcefully breathe outward. And with that breath, expand the Merkaba around the body. Do 2 more breaths so that the Merkaba is fully expanded and enforced around the body. And imagine a warm, fuzzy feeling as you sit quietly in the comfort of this energy-generating field. Now, we are going to pull down dark silver frequency energy from the 11th chakra, from a point about 1 foot above the head, and draw it down to the 12th chakra, 3 feet below the feet. So imagine the stream of dark silver frequency energy coming from the 11th chakra down to the 12th chakra, 3 foot below the feet. You take a deep, slow breath. Then as you do a forceful out breath. And visualize a stream of dark silver energy coming down from the 11th chakra to the 12th chakra. Do 2 more similar breaths so that the stream of the 11th dimensional frequencies is firmly established between the 11th and 12th chakras. Now, we are going to push up a stream of white frequency energy from the 12th chakra, from a point 3 feet below the feet, and draw it up to the 11th chakra, about 1 foot above the head. So take a deep, slow breath, and then as you do a forceful out breath, and visualize a stream of white coming up from the 12th chakra to the 11th chakra. Do 2 more similar breaths so that the stream of 12th dimensional frequencies is firmly established between the 11th and 12th chakras. And as we do so, we see a stream of pale silver energy, a combination of the dark silver and the white energies that fills the gap between the 11th and 12th chakras. So now we have combined the frequencies of the dark silver of the 11th chakra with the white frequencies of the 12th chakra. This establishes a core field of 11th and 12th dimensional frequencies in the soul body. The spinning disc at the 12th chakra is also known as the Maharic shield, and the pale silver energy is also known as the Maharic frequency. So take a deep breath and imagine the disc at the 12th chakra begins to spin. Next, we are going to activate the Maharic frequency by drawing a stream of pale silver, spinning and spiraling Maharic frequency, pushing it down from the 12th chakra to the 13th chakra at the center of the earth, at Earth's core. This establishes a link between the Earth's Merkaba field and the God worlds and our own personal Merkaba field. So, let's take a long, deep, slow breath in and forcefully eject the breath downward and send a stream of Maharic pale silver energy down to Earth's core at the center of the Earth. When the Maharic frequency reaches the 13th chakra at Earth's core, there is a burst or spark of pale yellow energy. at Earth's core as the Maharic frequency joins the 13th chakra. We take 3 deep breaths and forcefully outbreathe and imagine a pale stream of pale silver energy from the Maharic shield in the 12th chakra, slowly moving down to Earth's core. And when it reaches Earth's core, it changes into a pale spark of energy. Next, we will pull the activated Maharic frequencies from Earth's core back up to the Maharic shield, the 12th chakra, 3 feet below our feet. So take a long, deep, slow breath in and forcefully breathe out and pull the stream of Maharic pale silver energy up to the 12th chakra. And we do this 3 times. Now we are going to infuse the Maharic frequency in and around our personal Merkaba field to create a protective shield around it. So we take a long, slow, deep breath and forcefully breathe out and pull the Maharic frequency into the heart chakra and then forcefully breathe that out and imagine the Maharic frequency surrounding the Merkaba and soul body, expanding into the Merkaba field. We do this through 3 times. Sit still and quietly for a few seconds and imagine a shield of pale silver energy surrounding the soul body, forming a protective shield around the soul body. And say quietly, and so it is, 3 times. Ta Asia inter doe. Ta Asia inter doe. Ta Asia inter doe. You have now activated your protective shield around your body. Use it regularly to reinforce the energy and invoke your shield of protection every day for 21 days. And thereafter, with a single breath, breathe, and in summary, focus attention on your Merkaba at the pineal gland. It expanded around the body. Pull down pale silver energy from the 11th chakra. Pull up white energy from the 12th chakra. Push pale silver energy to Earth's core and pull it back up to the 12th chakra and push it through the heart chakra and blow it into the soul body and create a protective shield and say, so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to watch part 2 of this course.